Welcome to the Carolina Weather Group. It's Wednesday, August 12th, a little after 9 o'clock. James Brierton in Charlotte, Frank Strait in Columbia, South Carolina. Our Carolina Weather Group is scrolling at the bottom of the screen, including Angela and Modest, brand new YouTube member subscribers over on the Carolina Weather Group YouTube. So thank you to them and everyone who helps support what we do over here at the Carolina Weather Group. This week's show, it's all about you at home. If you're watching with us live tonight on YouTube or Facebook, please comment along. This format we like to call Shootin' the Breeze. It's a weather pun. We're going to talk the weather with you, with each other. We don't have any scheduled guests. You are the guest, so please join us in the live conversation if you're with us tonight on YouTube or Facebook. We'd love to have you. Frank, we've had a couple on again, off again, pretty active days. I haven't actually watered the lawn in the past week because Mother Nature's done it for me, which is just an incredible feat to have after months of drought.
Yeah, me neither. Well, I don't normally water my lawn, but I've actually had to mow my grass for the first time in about a month.
Did you see how excited my camera got when you said that? The camera just went berserk.
Yes. Your camera doesn't seem to believe that I had to actually mow my grass. But you have to get fairly regular rain here in the Sandhills of South Carolina in order to get your grass to grow, because the water just percolates right through the soil very quickly here because it's sandy. Yeah. Very sandy. As a matter of fact, there are sand mines within a few miles of me here.
Really?
So, yes.
Audio podcast listeners, if you're listening to us right now, every time I look over at the computer screen and away from the camera, I just get lower and lower in the frame. I don't, is it the hat? I don't know what's happening. It's confused.
Do you remember adjusting? Oh, there you are. You have been adjusted back to normal now.
But do you remember when Tim Buckley was here last week and I did the hand gesture and it started zooming in and out all by itself?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Now it won't do that.
Now it won't do that.
Well, there you go. You're syncing again.
I'm syncing again. Okay. Well, you talked about. I'm just gonna keep going. You talked about how much rain we got, and we were on the air. We came in for special coverage to talk about some flash flooding that happened in your neck of the woods down there in Columbia. Yes. You can see a little clip of that playing on your screen right now if you're watching along with us. But I kept saying Wally Street. It's Whaley Street.
Whaley Street. Yes.
Got so flooded out that a car actually got submerged in the water. You can see it there on your screen. Yeah, right. I know, camera. It's crazy to think about. And we're happy to report that the driver did make it out of the vehicle safely. Chris Jackson, storm chaser down there in Columbia, was on scene. This is a notorious spot, but no sense in me explaining it to you, Frank. You live in Columbia. Why is this spot always flooding?
Well, there are reasons. Number one, it's in town in Columbia. So there's a lot of pavement, there's a lot of sidewalk, there's a lot of buildings. There's not a lot of grass and bare soil and things like that in this creek's watershed. So if it rains really hard, all that water goes right into the creek really fast.
Yeah.
So anytime you get a good downpour, you run the risk of flooding in that part of town at the intersection of Main and Whaley Street in Columbia. That it is a very flood-prone area. I joke around saying it only takes, 3 or 4 drunken USC students to go pee in the creek for that creek to flood, and that's about what it's like. It floods very easily there. So that's the main thing. But also that day there was a ridiculous amount of rain, in a short period of time. For example, we at the DNR headquarters now at the new building in the front of the State Farmers Market complex in West Columbia. We're a Coco Ross observing site, and our Coco Ross gauge had about 3 inches of rain in about 90 minutes.
I think it's in here. Hang on.
Yeah,
I have your picture.
Rainfall.
Here it is.
Yep.
There you go.
That's the picture I took.
Yeah. Spell check didn't like when I said Coco Ross.
Right, no, it didn't understand that at all. Yeah. But anyway, AI guys, it's not perfect yet.
I can't spell Coco Ross either. C-O.
It's still in training to become our robot overlords.
Yeah.
But anyway, what you're seeing there, that's a Coco Ross gauge. The way Coco Ross gauges are made, there's an inner cylinder that you see there that holds up to 1 inch of rain. When it fills up, it overflows into that outer cylinder there. So with that inner cylinder full, there's 1 inch of rain in that. And in that outer cylinder, for every for every tenth of an inch it rides up in that outer cylinder, that's approximately another inch of rain. So there's somewhere around 2.3 there, or it's up to about the 2.3 line in the outer cylinder, or rather 0.23 in the outer cylinder. Multiply that by 10, 2.3, and there's an inch in the gauge. So that's the, would estimate about 3.3. Ended up being 3.21 for the day, if I remember correctly. I measured it that day. So normally Melissa does that, but she's away right now. So I ended up doing it.
Here's some more video. There's a USGS camera here because it's so notorious for flooding that they've got a Greek gauge and a live camera. That car that was submerged in the water is behind the raindrop in this particular video frame. But again, I think you guys ended up getting, it was at least a catastrophic flash flood warning, right? That activated the wireless emergency alert system?
That's a good question. I don't know if they went catastrophic. I think they went considerable.
You're right. Maybe that's what it was. It was the other C word.
There are kind of three levels to flash flood, severe thunderstorm, and tornado warnings now. There's the basic warning, and then there's the one where they add what they call a considerable tag to it, where the damage level is considerable. It's sort of adding extra oomph to that warning that they have out. And then there's the catastrophic one, which they would issue something like the April 20th of 2024 Rock Hill area thunderstorm.
Oh, yeah.
You might get a catastrophic level warning for that if the Weather Service realizes that that's the extent of damages that's going to happen. Or if it's a known violent tornado moving into a populated area, they'll have that considerable tag on the tornado warning. Or if there's widespread severe flash flooding and flooding occurring in areas that rarely do, then you might have that considerable tag be put on the flash flood warning or the catastrophic tag. So anyway, what you're seeing there is, I think, considerable level flooding there. And in this particular case, the gauge at that location, that webcam that you're seeing there is on the gauge, the stream flow gauge there, and it was about a foot short of its record high.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it came up fast. It went down pretty fast too. Watching the water go back
That's
down.
what it does. It goes up very fast, and it goes back down very fast once it quits raining.
Yeah, it was pretty remarkable to watch. And like you mentioned, all of those additional tags allow them to use the wireless emergency alert system and kind of blare out to everyone, hey, there's a problem, whether you're really subscribed to it or not. There's no app. There's, it's just they're trying to get out to the masses that there's a life-threatening problem. That would be a problem if you drove into that.
And I've been down there a couple times myself during a flash flood situation. I've been in that parking lot you see in the background there, and the time I was there before, not as much of that parking lot was flooded. I actually got there before the flood began, and it was pretty cool. I was able to say, hey, Weather Service guys, your flash flood warning is verifying right now. It is just starting to come onto the road now.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. But anyway, that parking lot, I was about where that white car was parked, and when I decided to bail, the entrance there was not flooded, and I was able to escape and park on the road instead and watch the flood from there a little bit further up Main Street. But I've been there before, so I know how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, that looked like that water was really flowing. We talk about how it doesn't take a lot of water to like pick up a vehicle and move it, or pick a person up and move it. The force strength of water is pretty remarkable. So to be able to watch that kind of play out live was fairly remarkable. You talked about all of those tags, right? The considerable tag, the destructive tag would be the upgrade. Beyond that would be like the absolute worst case scenario. And we saw a lot of those playing out. Luckily, not here in the Carolinas. We did have at least one considerable tagged thunderstorm in the Carolinas, I think, yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. But we had a ton of them elsewhere across the country as this ring of fire setup, if you will, just was churning lines of storms from Chicago through Indiana, through Ohio, into Kentucky, into West Virginia. We got some licks of it late yesterday. But I mean, on your screen right now, just look at all of these local storm reports, all of these yellow polygons, all these red polygons, but honestly, it wasn't even tornadoes that were the problem. It was this wind damage that was just coming through with 80-mile-per-hour winds into some of these towns in portions of the Midwest here. It was pretty remarkable. Did you get a chance to watch any of this while you were at work yesterday?
A little bit, yeah. That was an actual derecho, I think.
Yeah, I think it was.
Which a derecho, that's just a long-lasting squall line of severe thunderstorms. They oftentimes produce a few tornadoes as well, but usually the straight line wind damage is what is the problem with derechos. And I think we were kind of on the very end of it, just as it was fading away, at least in North Carolina and guess into upstate South Carolina too.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly got some verifiable storm damage across the Carolinas yesterday, and so it's not to make light of that, but considering what happened north and west of here, I think we're lucky we got the storms when we did, and it wasn't any earlier in the day, any closer to that heating of the day.
Right.
It was still kind of warm when they were rumbling through Charlotte at 5, 6 o'clock, but I guess it could have been worse is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it could have been.
Yeah. You look good in that circle, by the way.
Oh, so do you.
Well, thanks. I don't hate it. We'll try the circle layout. Oh, a funny thing did happen during these storms yesterday, Frank. I don't know if you caught it, but the National Weather Service was having data problems. So some offices were having some warnings delayed on some products and platforms. Okay, that was a lot of caveats. Let me give you some examples. We had at least 3 severe thunderstorm warnings that touched Mecklenburg County where I live. All 3 came to my phone in real time as text messages from my INWS, which anybody can sign up for, and you can get the text messages straight to you. It's nice public service. Only 1 came across my NOAA weather radio in real time. The other 2 were like 20 minutes late. And I know the TV stations were having problems getting the warnings into their third-party mapping systems. And I know some of the apps, like the radar apps, were having a hard time getting the polygons populated. Even the internal weather bot in NWS chat was delayed. And so offices were literally they were issuing warnings, but then they would just go into chat and they would say, "Attention partners, please tell the public that there is now a warning over yada, 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 yada." And we were just like shouting it out.
A less than ideal time to have.
Yeah, I mean,
used computer problems, whatever.
I never saw a reason why there was a problem. But pure load on the system doesn't seem not plausible to me. Like, there was so much going on
right
yesterday that
the National Weather Service's systems are designed to handle a lot of server load. So
yeah.
If things are running smoothly and as they should, then they don't have a problem.
Yeah. So that was, and it wasn't even like most data problems. If you've ever had a data problem, it wasn't consistent. Like what was working, what wasn't working. It was just like, So anyway, it's all resolved now, but that was a bit of a headache. It is why we tell you to have multiple ways to receive warnings, because as I saw in my own experience, one was coming through reliably and one was not. And next time it could be the other way around. So that's not to shame any one particular thing that was having a problem yesterday. It's just to reiterate to have multiple.
Yeah, and it's important to understand things happen with computers. They glitch sometimes. Somebody pushes the wrong button. Some bad actor decides to do something mean, and you have to be ready for those situations. That's why we tell you to have 2 ways to get warnings, or even more if it's a higher end situation like a major severe storm and tornado outbreak.
Let's check in with the Carolina Weather Groupies, having a conversation with the chat tonight. CJ Applegate back with us talking about El Nino, saying bring swaths of moisture to this winter, but hopefully no flooding. Greg Fishel will be along with an El Nino update in a little bit. Hopefully we get some snow, says CJ, for this upcoming winter. I mean, what a nice treat it was to get snow this winter if you're pro snow and pro cold. I know some people aren't, but I tend to cheer for at least one good snowfall. Drago? Snow? No thanks. Don't need people going nuts. Yeah, just stock up on the milk and bread now. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
But before we talk snow, and we will talk El Nino coming up, we got to talk about the tropics, I think, Frank, because all of a sudden, like, it's like somebody flipped a switch over there, and the tropics, both Atlantic and Pacific, are like, hello.
Right. Yep. And it's going in the Atlantic, and it's going in the Pacific too. Let's take a look at the satellite pictures here. Yeah, thanks, James. I was about to tell you to go away because you're blocking something I wanted to point out. Anyway, now you have me blocking something. All right. Anyway, the first thing we want to look at here is this little somewhat innocuous looking feature that's between Bermuda and the Azores. That is Tropical Storm Cristobal, which formed earlier today. Actually, I think in the end, when they do the postseason analysis, they'll probably say it formed sometime yesterday. But anyway, it is a tropical storm, and it's moving away from us toward the Azores. So it is not a problem for us. It is what my favorite author, Douglas Adams, would call an SEP, somebody else's problem. So let's look for other things that could be problems. You probably noticed the little swirly looking things out over the deep tropics in the Atlantics. And there are two features of interest down there. The one that is further west, kind of midstream in the tropical Atlantic, is one that the National Hurricane Center has a little area outlined on their 7-day outlook. And last time I looked, anyway, it was code red, 80% chance of development the next 2 days. It still does not look terribly impressive, but certainly has a swirling motion with it. And we will be watching it track westward. It is currently in an area that is somewhat favorable for further development, but it does have things working against it. Number one, there is very dry air just to the north, and you can kind of see some haziness in the satellite picture here. This is from earlier today, late morning to midday hours, roughly. That is Saharan dust, which tropical cyclones don't really mind the dust, but the thing is, when you have a dusty atmosphere, it's likely very dry as well, and tropical cyclones don't like that at all. So any storm that tries to develop here, and even in its developmental stage, it's pulling in some of that dry air from the north, and that's probably the reason why it hasn't already developed at this point, because it is a fairly robust looking feature there. But because it's a little bit south of this dry air mass up here, around 15 to 20 degrees north and maybe up to 25 degrees north, this feature here does have some chance to develop. It looks like it's going to head straight west. Thanks to that dry air to the north, it's probably going to remain weak, and then when it gets to the Caribbean, it's likely going to hit very strong vertical wind shear, which just means that the wind's blowing two different directions in the atmosphere. Over the Caribbean right now, you have the trade winds, as usual, blowing roughly out of the east-northeast, and then at the upper levels, you have winds out of the west. That means there's a lot of vertical wind shear present. So if this thing were to develop and likely remain a weak feature as it heads toward the islands, once it gets into the Caribbean, that vertical shear will probably tear it apart. So it's not likely to be a concern for us. The feature off to the west, that's south of Cabo Verde, the nation of Cabo Verde is this island group right here, just west of the African coastline, which is back here. This little feature is also one to keep an eye on. It actually has better thunderstorm coverage because it's a little bit further removed from that dry air mass that's present to its north. So it is likely going to be in a similar situation here. Yeah, you are supposed to see my mouse, James. I have it on the wrong
see
screen.
it. It's way down there.
There we are. It's over here. Okay, so the lead
I see
feature's
it now.
there, the one I was talking about. Here's the one I am talking about now. There's Cristobal, the one I was talking about first. Anyway, down here is feature number 3 that we're keeping an eye on. This might have a better chance to develop, but it also likely meets a similar fate to the one in front of it that's the lead blocker for it, so to speak. Dry air to the north would likely ingest. That likely keeps it from getting too strong, and then eventually it will likely meet some strong wind shear that tears it apart. So it's likely to remain weak, and it's also likely to not be a problem for us here in the Carolinas. Now, there is another one we're watching over in the Pacific that is a problem for a part of the United States. This is a potential tropical cyclone 1C in the Central Pacific Basin. Here's Hawaii right here. This thing is forecast. It's not a tropical cyclone yet, but you can see there's thunderstorms associated with it, and there's a pretty good swirl there associated with this feature. So there's a low pressure area. The National Hurricane Center is forecasting that feature to become a tropical storm over the next 24 hours, and then make a beeline toward the Big Island. The Big Island is named Hawaii. So that looks like where it's going to go, but it looks like the entire state of Hawaii is likely to be affected in time. It could be a strong tropical storm by the time it gets to the Big Island there. High-end tropical storms, what they're forecasting, there's some chance it becomes a hurricane before it gets there. But then interaction with the Big Island there should weaken it. The Big Island of Hawaii there, of course, there's volcanoes there, and they've built quite tall over time. The highest point on the Big Island of Hawaii there is over 13,000 feet high. So the land interaction will likely weaken it, and then it will move on away from the islands, but still affecting areas further north like Maui, Oahu, and Kauai before it moves out into the open Pacific. But it is forecast to remain a tropical storm that entire time, with some chance of it reaching Category 1 hurricane strength right before it gets to the Big Island. So they're starting to batten down the hatches there, as they should. But right now, that's the only area in the U.S. that runs the risk of being impacted by a tropical cyclone in the short term.
Yeah, it's like somebody like flipped on a light switch and all of a sudden there's all this tropical activity happening. I mean, the hurricane season's been going on for some time now, but it is August, September that really is typically the peak as we draw towards.
Right,
like
yeah, this is the time
10th.
of year things start to perk up in the tropics. And there's also other factors at play as well. I don't know I think I've mentioned once or twice the Madden-Julian oscillation, which
every time you do it, take a drink.
Yep. The kind of modulates tropical cyclone activity around the world's tropics. Lately, things have been quiet in the Atlantic because the Madden-Julian oscillation is unfavorable. Things are we have the part of the reason we have a tropical cyclone risk there in Hawaii is because the Madden-Julian oscillation's favorable area is over the central and west Pacific right now. So that's it. And the Madden-Julian oscillation tends to drift eastward in time. So as we go to the end of August and into September, the Madden-Julian oscillation should become more favorable for things to get a little more active in the Atlantic. And this year, the Atlantic needs all the help it can get because of El Nino. In El Nino summers, you have the wind shear almost constantly, and then the dry air mass over the eastern Atlantic. It's one of the reasons, or the primary reason, why things are likely to stay quieter than usual in the Atlantic.
Greg Fisher will be along in a moment with his El Nino forecast and update. But first we have this, Frank. We have a severe thunderstorm warning on the board.
Oh, that storm in upstate South Carolina.
Yeah, it's Lawrence County right now in South Carolina. Let's show it to you on weather front, show you where this storm is right now on radar, and give you an idea of what's happening. You can see it, as Frank just mentioned, along the I-26 corridor here. So it does include the cities of Clinton and Joanna. I didn't know there was a town named Joanna. That sounds lovely. This goes until 9:45 with a threat of 60 mile per hour in winds and 3/4 inch size hail. Now, I will say, what is that? It looks like the storm may be beyond its peak. If we look back, it was right about in here where I think as it approached Clinton, coming out of Lawrence, the city of Lawrence, where it looked like it was maybe the strongest, with radar
probably so,
about 45, 40 miles an hour or so. So you can see it here. Okay, no, it's okay. You can tell me how to. I'm saying Clinton wrong. How do you? It's Clinton.
Clinton, yeah.
Clinton. There's no T.
Yeah, say it like there's no T there.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to admit. I mean, we are the Carolina Weather Group. I try to know as many towns as possible, like Turville or Lancaster, but I don't know them all. And this is why it's great to have other people spread around, because this is your region. You know it better than me. I should be letting you do it.
Right. Well, anyway, if you're driving on 26 right now, coming through Newberry County, there's some pretty strong outflow winds there that are kind of outrunning the rain that's falling a little bit. So you're going to hit a pretty good headwind not far past the Newberry exit, heading toward the upstate. And the same is going to be true there along Highway 76, coming out of Newberry, heading toward Joanna and Clinton, toward Lawrence and in that area. So if you're in that area, it wouldn't hurt to pull over and let the storm pass. It looks like a nasty one with some gusty winds and maybe some hail and certainly some potentially blinding downpours from that storm. It's coming down pretty good there.
Yeah, I'm looking over right now. I'm trying to see. We do have traffic cameras here. We do have traffic cameras here from ESC DOT folks, so we can show those to you real fast. Kind of give you a real-time look at what's happening on the ground. Doesn't look particularly bad along this section of I-26, but this is just one camera and one particular look. Oh, there's a person driving, I think, with their hazards on. Don't do that. Don't do that, folks.
Yeah, if you're able to maintain a speed above the posted minimum speed, don't turn your four-ways on.
Yeah.
And if you can't maintain the minimum speed, then it's okay to have your four-ways on, but just take the next exit and pull over.
Yeah, if it's not for you, just wait for it to pass.
Right.
It'll come through quickly. Yeah. All right. We'll keep an eye on it. It's set to expire in 5 minutes, and if it doesn't, we'll let you know. But I'll tell you what caught my attention on that storm was the fact that I've got the Carolina Weather Net on over here, Frank. So you were talking the tropics, and I was watching you talk the tropics, and I noticed our Carolina's overview sidebar, and it started to scroll there, and I went, oh, there's a warning on the board. So thanks, Shootin.
There's some other gusty storms in other parts of the upstate, too, and heading toward the Catawba River. There's gusty cell over southwestern York County, and if you along the Cherokee Union County line. So our folks in those areas are seeing some downpours, hearing some cracks of thunder, and maybe the wind's blowing a little bit there too, but they don't appear to be severe at this point.
I got to tell you, so we had a storm roll through. I'm near Matthews, North Carolina. Maybe I can find it on radar. Wasn't severe warned. Didn't need to be, technically. It wasn't a special weather statement. Maybe. But it was one of those storms, Frank, where like it just didn't fit any of the criteria. There was lots of lightning, but the storm popped up in like 2 or 3 frames, and it was gone maybe in like 6 more frames. So it went vertical fast and collapsed down over us very quickly. And the trees were like bending over because the wind was coming like down vertically. And it kind of made me reflect on, you know how sometimes we'll be tracking storms and we'll get comments from somebody that says like, this storm's really bad. And we'll be looking at it on a radar and we're like, it's not that bad. It's just a thunderstorm. And I'm sitting in this storm the other day and I came this close to moving my family in a safe place because like the house was getting like hit by branches. And I was like, this is a good reminder that not everything on radar is always like a perfect image of what's happening on the ground.
Right. That happens. Two things to take away. First, the weather happens in 3 dimensions. Things go north and south, things go east and west, and things also go up and down in the atmosphere. So, and that's actually the main reason you get high winds and thunderstorms is because you have what we call downdrafts, descending air in thunderstorms. And when it hits the ground, it spreads out in every direction. And you can get strong winds, especially when you also have some fairly strong winds aloft, and you do we have what's called momentum transfer, where that thunderstorm's downdraft sends those stronger winds aloft to the surface. And then in addition, it can also coincide with a downdraft and make those winds even stronger. The two work together sometimes.
I don't know if this video is going to do it justice. I'm going to share it anyway. We're going to try. So I have a Nest Cam on my roof. So it's kind of looking like up at the sky, if you will. But you can see there on the right-hand side, there's a tree. Okay, that's kind of like where the tree's supposed to be. Obviously, that's rain like pouring down in front of the camera. But if I go to some of the windiest moments, you see like the tree now is like bent over towards the camera and like smacking the house. I don't know that it actually hit the house. Insurance company, I don't think it actually hit the house. But now I'm like, I got to go trim this branch. I got to go like, there's lightning in the background. But like, this is what I was seeing when I looked out the window. I was like, what is happening right now? Plus, you combine that again with the lightning and the thunder, both of which are not criteria for severe thunderstorm warnings. But it did make me go like, yeah, this is kind of scary right now.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna put that tree away. It's freaking me out.
No. One thing we're going to have to watch out for with this storm, since it's causing a lot of outflow that's going off to the
This is the Lauren storm.
South. Yeah, that Lawrence storm. A lot of storm outflow going in every direction, and sometimes storm outflow can generate more storms. I think that's what's actually happening
Yeah.
off to the west of that cell there, over in western Lawrence County. Of course, the steering flow is pushing everything southeastward, but this area roughly southwest of I-26 out in here and 385. This area is kind of primed for storms to produce locally strong winds. A good bit of what we call downdraft cape in that area. So, especially for the area along in southwest of 26 there, we'll have to watch those storms and any more storms that develop. They would have some potential to cause damaging winds.
I'll admit, I did not have your screen share on the screen, so I just want to show people what it is you're talking about. You're talking about this line, this like green line that I'm
Right, that's the
white.
leading edge of the outflow there, and it kind of curls around into that storm just east of Ware Shoals.
Yeah, so if we put this back into motion, it's kind of like pushing
As a
out
matter
ahead.
of fact, the Weather Service has a special weather statement out now for that cell over western Lawrence County.
I like special weather statements when we're in storm tracking mode because it's kind of like the Weather Service's way of being like, I see you. I see you.
Right. It's like that's maybe not severe, but it's a gusty thunderstorm alert, I guess.
Yeah.
Not really severe, but you don't want to get caught out in it either.
Yeah. And again, it's just acknowledgement that they are watching that. So yeah, that'll be coming down towards Columbia in the next little bit. That last frame or so, like it looks like on reflectivity, like it's still got a pretty good center, pretty good core there. Lightning kicking up with it.
Right. It's not a fun drive in Newberry County on 26 right now.
No,
that's for sure.
Yeah. I like how on Weatherfront we can go like way down and be like, oh yeah, there's 76. Then I think we can get like down to the street level. We're like, all right, Bush River Road. Yeah, look at that.
Yep.
We talked about Weatherfront a couple of weeks ago on the show, and I'm still learning exactly how it works now that especially that it's available on Android, and I'm an Android guy, but yeah. So it's like
I didn't realize they still called that Bush River Roadway up there.
Well, I don't know, do they not?
I've been on 76 in Newberry County because there's cheap gas there, but I have not been that far up toward like Joanna and Clinton and so forth. I didn't realize that was still Bush River Roadway up there.
Like it's
Bush River Road
right
goes
now.
all the way into Columbia.
It's pouring right now on Magnolia Street. We see
Well,
you, Magnolia Street.
it was pouring when that radar image was
Yeah.
generated.
You're right.
When the radar scanned it, it was pouring. That was probably 3 to 5 minutes ago.
You're right. You know what was weird? We were talking about the data outage that was happening yesterday. Columbia's radar wasn't impacted, but GSP's was. So on radar apps, any radar app, when you would switch between the radar, which I do a lot up here in Charlotte, the storms were like jumping because the data was so out of sync.
Well, you can always use a TDWR.
I see. Okay. All right. I'm going to hang up on you now. Actually, I don't know that I could have. For some reason, I think that was off too. Anyway.
Yeah, maybe.
I digress. All right, we'll watch that. So we got a nice tropical update from Frank, and Greg Fischel sends his regards this week. And not only does he send his regards, but he sends his El Nino status update. Let's hand it over to the fish man and see how things are standing out there, especially in the Pacific with that big storm.
Hello, UCWG folks out there. Greg Fischel here, and I am going to be at a band rehearsal tonight, which means that I probably won't get out of there in time to join all of you live. And so I thought I would send this little video ahead of time, and I'm hoping that this band rehearsal will be instrumental in the success of my evening. But anyway, let's talk about this El Nino update. These updates come out from the Climate Prediction Center.
Is he freezing a lot, or is it just
and,
me?
The latest one.
He froze
Frank?
pretty substantially right there, didn't he?
Oh, I just paused him. But before that, was he freezing, or was it just on my end?
Yeah, a little bit.
And the latest one came out on Monday, and so I thought we could take a look at what's going on with
Like
this.
he's frozen
And
right now,
everything
isn't he?
Continues to indicate that we're headed toward, if not one of the strongest El Ninos ever, or if not the strongest ever, certainly one of the strongest.
This is not gonna work. This is not Greg's fault. This video is playing out of the cloud. It's not even playing off my computer. What happens if I play it off my computer?
That's what you get for trusting the cloud.
Oh, wow. add it to my list of gripes with you-know-who. All right, let me try to play it off my computer, but I imagine that's going to be even worse.
Hello, you CWG folks out there. Greg Fishel here, and I am going to be at a band rehearsal tonight, which means that I probably won't get out of there in time to join all of you live. And so I thought I would send this little video ahead of time, and I'm hoping that this band rehearsal will be instrumental in the success of my evening. But anyway, let's talk about this El Nino update. These updates come out from the Climate Prediction Center each week, and the latest one came out on Monday, and so I thought we could take a look at what's going on with this, and everything continues to indicate that we're headed toward, if not one of the strongest El Ninos ever, or if not the strongest ever, certainly one of the strongest. So let's go on ahead and take a look at things here. And I'll put myself down in the corner where I'm not too obnoxious in terms of blocking out information. But there are 4 Nino regions. The first one is 1+2 off the coast of Ecuador and Peru. And the anomalies have gone up to plus 3.3. That's 3.3 degrees Celsius above the 30-year average from 1991 to 2020. And the threshold for a very strong El Nino in the Nino 3.4 region, which I'll show you in a second, is 2. And so this is a very, very strong positive temperature anomaly. Normally, the water temperatures are cooler in that part of the Pacific than they are in the Western Pacific, so it's a little bit easier to get those kind of anomalies, but still, that's pretty impressive. Now, as we take a look at Nino 3, which is in the Eastern Pacific, those anomalies went up 0.3 of a degree to 2.4. The region that everybody really looks at is Nino 3.4. That also went up 0.3 of a degree to 1.8, so it's only 0.2 shy of that 2.0 threshold. And out in Nino 4, which is the Western Pacific, you would expect that to be not nearly as impressive because the warmest water is being shoved east out of that area. And so their anomaly is just plus 0.3, and that only went up 0.1 of a degree Celsius in the last week. Now, one of the things that's new this year is that instead of looking at just the anomaly in Nino 3.4, they compared that anomaly to the anomaly over the entire tropical Pacific. And so basically you're comparing the temperature anomalies in that small region with the whole tropical Pacific, because if everything is warming up at the same rate, or the anomalies are very similar, then you really don't have an El Nino. El Nino is more about temperature gradients than it is temperatures themselves. And so with an El Nino, what you want is the anomalies concentrated along the equator, and then the anomalies really dropping off both north and south from there. So that's why this new comparison was adopted this year, because global ocean temperatures are getting warmer, as we all know, over time. And so you have to take that into account. These are the thresholds for La Ninas and El Ninos. Basically, anything from 0.5, 0.5 or higher is an El Nino. Once you get to 1, it's moderate. 1.5, it's strong. And 2 is very strong. And to qualify, I think I'm covering up part of that definition there. I apologize. You have to have 5 consecutive overlapping 3-month periods with values of 0.5 or higher. Now, here's a chart going back to 2014, and all the areas that you see, all the boxes shaded in red, are periods of time where we had an El Nino, where we had at least 5 consecutive overlapping 3-month periods with 0.5 or higher. Now, I cheated at the bottom here because technically we're not going to be able to call this an El Nino until we get 3 more of those boxes full. Which is going to take us into August, September, October, and the data for that won't come out till the first week in November. So officially, we can't call it an El Nino until then, but if you're already at these thresholds and you have absolutely no reason to believe these numbers are going down, then you can pretty safely say that we're already in it, and it's just a matter of fulfilling that definition down the road. Okay, so this is the difference between anomalies and actual water temperatures. Now, again, the water temperatures are typically cooler in the Eastern Pacific than they are the Western Pacific, and so that doesn't mean by looking at this that the warmest water is in the Central and Eastern Pacific. It means that this is where the temperatures are the most above normal, okay? Now, when you look at the actual water temperatures, that's what this looks like. And you see that toward the end of the loop, there are several regions of the warmest water, if you will. One is off the Central American coast, one is in the middle of the Pacific, and there's another one that appears to be shrinking, but it's off the Asian coast. So the classic El Nino has the warmest water right in the middle of the Pacific in Nino 3.4. We're not quite there yet in the sense that we still have other areas of warm water as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how this looks as we head through the next few months toward the peak of the El Nino, which should occur late fall or early winter. And those circles sort of highlight where some of the warmest water is. Okay, last thing I'm going to show you is the forecast. This is the Climate Forecast System CFS model with the ensembles, and basically it's peaking out, and this has been pretty consistent, about 2.2 or 2.3, which would put it in the very strong category. Now, the European ensembles have been going bonkers on this thing ever since they pretty much established that one was coming. And so, and before I get to that, there is not one instance since 1950 of the RONI, the Relative Oceanic Nino Index, going from a negative value in the spring to +2 or greater by the end of the year. So that would be a modern record history maker if we do that. And then here is the last slide, the European ensembles. Again, the threshold for very strong is 2, and most of the ensemble members are in the 3 to maybe 3.6 range, which we've never seen before. Okay, we've never had the RONI with values like that. So if the Europeans onto something, and this would be a real coup if it is, because the CFS is not nearly as high as this, then who knows? We're in uncharted territory in terms of what the impacts of this could be, especially as we head toward the winter season. So going to be interesting to watch. And again, I do have a YouTube channel. It's called the Official YouTube channel, and I post these El Nino updates up there every Monday, if possible, but if not Monday, very shortly thereafter. And so that's basically it from me. And in this band that I'm playing in, I actually play the tuba, but I guess it's fair to say that there's no basis for that. All right, folks, if I haven't offended you by now, I probably will at some point, but I hope you all have a great rest of your podcast, and I'll talk to you soon. See you later.
And some of us got to see Greg play the tuba last week when we accidentally aired it on the Carolina Weather Net. And then we released the clip to our Patreon and YouTube member subscribers as a little blooper. Whoopsie daisy. But Greg played the tuba. He played Meet the Mets, which I shamefully could not identify. My bad.
Mm-hmm. And that's the best part about being a Patreon subscriber is you get to see all those silly mistakes that we make before anybody else does. As a matter of fact, we really don't want many people to see that, so it's rare that
we didn't know we were on
Patreon subscribers.
At least no one cursed. The worst thing that happened was we played some tuba. Let's go back out to radar, because while Greg was talking there, GSP was playing You Get a Special Weather Statement, You Get a Special Weather Statement, You Get a Special Weather Statement. They're doing their best Oprah right now. Yeah, we got 5. Look at these all. What do we got going on here?
Yeah, are they still having data problems? I'm only seeing 1 in Chester and York County. You got 5. A bunch more of them.
I have 5 on Weatherfront. Let me go to their actual NWS chat with us.
Yeah, I'm curious if they're all actually
issued a special weather statement 9:55, issued a special weather statement 9:53, issued a special weather statement 9:46, issued a special weather statement 9:39. Yeah, no, I'm good over here.
Okay. So yeah, 4 of those 5 are currently in effect. So one of them has expired recently. The one in Western Lawrence County. The other 4 are still current, according to the Weather Service's webpage.
Say so.
GSPs. Anyway, so yeah, I only see one of them on my GR2 analyst display. Anyway, the most impressive looking cell is that one that's just west of Highway 321 in Chester and York counties there. That's a pretty impressive sell. But as you can see, there's also the special weather statement in effect for parts of Union County and going into a little bit of Chester County as well. Kind of a line of storms developing there. So we'll have to watch out for some strong winds, lightning, and heavy downpours if you're in that area and traveling along 321 in that area is likely to not be fun shortly if it hasn't already gone downhill. State Highway 97 out that way, State Highway 9 going through Lockhart over to Jonesville. Those are not going to be fun roads to ride on.
Yep.
Further to the southwest, we have, and suddenly those special weather statements have appeared again
Poof.
on my
There you
GR2
go.
analyst display. Go figure. There's actually was a damage report there.
Oh, yeah?
Down tree along Highway 56 near Clinton. That's just sort of, well, right next to the 26-385 split there, where that down tree occurred. Anyway, a few other cells still going with that little cluster around Lawrence County into northern Newberry County. It looks like there's one trying to get going there over
Oh, yeah.
Newberry.
Yeah, look at that.
Along the outflow there. So that's something to watch. And as I was looking at the radar, it looks like there's some kind of little thing there coming northward through Lexington and Richland counties. Maybe that's the sea breeze finally getting into the Midlands. Maybe it's outflow from earlier storms that were over Georgia and the Low Country. But in the next half hour, there's some chance that those two boundaries kind of collide there over northern Lexington, Richland, maybe Saluda counties. So I'll have to keep an eye on that because that could be a way we can generate some evening thunderstorms in that area.
I kind of see it. Are you on Columbia's radar?
Yeah, it's a really subtle feature there,
Really
isn't it?
subtle. It's like in here.
Yeah, it's
right?
the kind of thing that Chris Jackson would be saying.
He did post. He posted it. Yeah, he posted a few minutes ago on social. He's like, "I'm watching."
Yeah,
I see, because you're right. There's a little something
he's
there.
all over those little things. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we already know that this guy's got one pushing this way, and what you're saying is this guy's pushing that way, and then the X's and the O's, they collide, and then John Madden goes touchdown. That's the worst picture I've ever drawn. Yeah. Okay.
All right, so let's do the forecast and see what.
Yeah. Well, I'll watch the radar. You do the forecast.
Okay,
How's that
sounds good. All right, so let's flip over here to current satellite imagery, current infrared satellite picture across the fruited plain here, and you see the blob showing up with our thunderstorms over upstate South Carolina, but not much else happening around the Carolinas at the moment. Off to the northwest, there's a stationary front that's causing a lot of thunderstorm activity over Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, and into far southwestern Virginia there. Some of that might sneak into western North Carolina overnight. More storms as well going apparently from sea breeze fronts there in Florida. More storms with a little disturbance offshore. Over the western part of the country, it's monsoon season. So they're getting thunderstorms in places like Arizona right now because they have humidity this time of year. It's still over 100, but it's not likely to get to 115 when there's during monsoon season there. But they have heat indices that high because it's humid and still getting over 100. Anyway, more storms up over the Plain States as well from a front that's pushing southward. Will we see any more fronts get into the Carolinas? North Carolina, maybe, but probably not South Carolina. I'll explain here in a minute. Let's see. You talked about the tropics. I talked about the thing in Hawaii already. There's what the current radar composite looks like. Thunderstorms. It looks like the bark on the satellite picture is a little bit more serious than the bite that you get from the radar picture there. But nonetheless, some pretty impressive storms coming into the Cumberland Gap there and over far southern Illinois as well, and moving into western Kentucky. And, of course, the scattering of storms out west with their monsoon season and the gusty storms that you can find up over the northern and central plain states. Where do we go from here? Well, let's call up the European model and see what it shows. Okay, there is Thursday afternoon, late afternoon, evening, shows not a whole lot happening over the Carolinas at this point. This is the Bermuda high down here over Florida, so it's a little stronger than usual and nosing in to Florida and the Gulf a little bit more, nudging further west than it usually does. So we have kind of a westerly flow around that here in the Carolinas. Westerly winds usually result in not a lot of action, and it's usually kind of hot in the summertime when we get a westerly wind. There could still be an isolated afternoon thunderstorm around the Carolinas. The European models kind of showing a pop up here and there, but probably not a lot of activity. In the mountains, that's probably a different story. The activity is probably a little bit more concentrated in the afternoon, and maybe some of that could sneak into the foothills and perhaps the upstate of South Carolina in the afternoon. But overall, it looks like more or less just a rather hot and humid day. Where did I put those temperatures? There they are. Highs for Thursday. Really hot, mostly 95 to maybe even to 100 in the hot spots. The Weather Service has 99 for us here in Columbia and Sumter. A lot of other upper 90s showing up. So it looks like a pretty hot day. Not looking forward to playing pickleball in this heat tomorrow evening. I will have to stay well hydrated. I will have to get plenty of electrolytes as well tomorrow evening playing pickleball, because it's going to be a simmering sauna-like day. Up in North Carolina, there we go. There's your Thursday highs. Again, a lot of the state 95 to 100. Coastal areas cooler. Mountains cooler as well, so that's where you can get a break from the heat. But in between, you're going to be simmering and not much in the way of relief from afternoon thunderstorm activity. Okay, let's go on to Friday. I'll pop this few steps ahead, and once again, we're looking at kind of a similar thing. Not a whole lot of afternoon thunderstorm activity, with that stationary front remaining to our north still, and generating storms more up over Kentucky, West Virginia, and Virginia, and not a lot of activity in the Carolinas. Now, where there is a trigger, we have a decent chance of seeing a thunderstorm, which would be over the mountains in western North Carolina. That activity sometimes drifts into the upstate of South Carolina and eastward into the foothills. Also, it looks like the model's trying to catch on to some isolated sea breeze generated activity over eastern North Carolina and the South Carolina coastal plain. But in between, little or no afternoon thunderstorm activity, and it's just another hot, very hot, steamy day. 100 degrees for your high in Columbia on Friday, according to the Weather Service. 99 in Sumter, just about the whole state, at least 95, with the exception of our sliver of mountains in the northwest and areas close to the coast, which may only reach the low 90s, 93 for Myrtle Beach there. So pretty hot day. Heat indices are going to be ugly. That's Thursday, hot enough there. Friday, even hotter. A lot of the state 110 plus, so we're probably going to see if this ends up still looking to verify. By the time we get to Friday, we'll likely have some heat advisories and heat warnings out across a good bit of South Carolina. Up in North Carolina, a similar story in the east for temperatures, again, 95 to 100, roughly from the southern part of the I-77 corridor on east all the way to the coast. Again, the Outer Banks cooler. You can likely stay in the 80s, at least in a few spots. Higher spots in the west also on a little cooler and staying in the 80s with a better chance for afternoon thunderstorms as well. But in between, it's really hot, and your heat indices are going to be pretty miserable Friday in North Carolina as well, with some places up to 110 or so for your heat index, and that is very unpleasant to deal with. You'll be simmering if you have to be out in that. So again, hydration and electrolytes. Take breaks indoors in the shade as you can. Oh, wear light colored clothes too. It just frustrates me when I see people wearing a black shirt and black denim when it's 102 degrees and the heat index is 113. Don't do that. Wear light colored clothes. Seriously, people. Summertime. All right. Weekend. There's Saturday. And according to the European model, that stationary front could shift a little further southward on Saturday. And at least into North Carolina, maybe into the northern or northeastern PD section of South Carolina, too. Maybe the Catawba region there around Rock Hill can also see that stationary front get that far south by Saturday evening. That would result in more widespread thunderstorms and less heat. for those areas. We get a better chance for North Carolina than South Carolina, but the European model does actually show some pretty good coverage of afternoon thunderstorms, even over the rest of South Carolina. With all that heat and humidity, it doesn't take much of a trigger to get stuff going. So that's how it kind of looks for your Saturday and your high temperatures again. There's Saturday's highs, upper 90s for the most part, not quite as hot north and east, but just as hot south and west of Columbia. Going into North Carolina, there's your highs. Again, not as hot it looks for Saturday, thanks to that stationary front shifting southward, maybe more like a cold front, and at least bringing some cloud showers and thunderstorms, even if we don't get a real change in air mass here. Heat indices are going to be pretty miserable again. We don't go out to Saturday here, I guess, for the heat index doing. Nope, it only goes out Friday. But it's going to be pretty miserable in South Carolina, not exactly comfortable in North Carolina either. Likely triple digits for a lot of the region, and perhaps going over 110 again in parts of South Carolina. Okay, Sunday. Sunday brings us that stationary front kind of washing out. Not a whole lot of activity going on, but where there are triggers, again, where there's sea breeze boundaries along the coastal plain and across the west, in the mountains, we can have a decent chance of an afternoon thunderstorm, but the odds are lower in between, and a good chance that you don't see any cooling afternoon thunderstorms in those areas. South Carolina highs, according to the Weather Service, on Sunday, again, well into the 90s, but not quite as hot as we're seeing here at the end of the week. North Carolina, there you go, Sunday. Again, not more average heat, maybe a little above average heat, but we're not exactly setting records either. Okay, early next week, going ahead to Monday, that looks like a hot and largely rain-free day. There's the next cold front approaches from the north, so that might sneak into North Carolina later in the day or into the evening. South Carolina is likely rain-free and oppressively hot again. Likely seeing the temperature shoot back up into the triple digits over parts of South Carolina again, at least in the 95 to 100 degree range, and heat indices are probably way up there, up around 110 for a lot of the state again. So another miserably hot day, probably not quite as hot in North Carolina, but hotter than the weekend. Again, Tuesday, that front may sneak into North and South Carolina. Maybe we were a little bit more active again here, and that could ease the heat. I hope that's the way it works out, because we will be ready for a break from the heat by then. And then that front kind of starts to wash out over us around the middle of next week, and then we'll worry about the end of next week and next weekend next week. But early indications are that we could have a more robust front coming in late next week that could bring us a more substantial relief from the heat later next week and into next weekend. And I hope that's the way it works out. Bottom line, hot the next several days. Chances of afternoon thunderstorms fluctuate a little bit, and the tropics look to remain quiet for us. Likely no impacts, even though we could have a storm or two develop over the tropical Atlantic during that time. So that covers it, James.
Very thorough as always, Frank. We appreciate it. I'm going to try to soak up what's left of summer, I suppose. We have some.
I'm hoping this will be our last heat wave of the season. I'm hoping.
That would be nice, wouldn't it? That would be nice.
Because we haven't really had a truly record-breaking summer. We haven't had many record highs here. Not a whole lot of days where it's been over 100, or at least even getting to 100. But temperatures have been above average almost every day. It's been, down here in Columbia, the normal highs like 93, 94 during the hottest part of the year. We've had a lot of days where it's been 96, 97, 98, but only one where it got to 100 here.
I was cleaning my garage yesterday, which was a silly thing to do in the heat of the day, but you got to do it when you got time to do it. And I recorded a short video for our YouTube members and our Patreon, because one of these days I'm going to have a streaming studio out there, but it feels like it's taking forever and a half. But it was really hot out there in the unair conditioned garage, and that was kind of a silly decision I had made, but it is what it is. CJ says, I learned something new tonight. Thanks for teaching us about the oscillation and the NAO. And I think CJ, if I saw correctly on Facebook, I think this is your 5th anniversary being a fan of the Carolina Weather Group. So thank you for that. We appreciate that loyalty oh so very much. It's 10:15 now. Wow, the time flies. We've been doing this show for an hour already, Frank, and we said we were going to do a short one.
Yeah.
Out there on
That's how it
radar
is.
right now. We have
Yeah,
more of
that's
these
out of date,
special weather
James.
stuff. This is out of date.
That's out of date. That radar is out of date. Those storms in Newberry and Lawrence County have mostly fizzled out at this point. And they're much more robust looking than that, and they're further south.
Okay.
They're
All
over
right.
there. You
Show
go.
me-
Now
show
you
me
got
what
my
you
radar
got.
on there. All right, so line of storms has formed now, and we've seen it build westward as well, back into Union County into Spartanburg County. That's the Columbia radar. Let me switch over to the GSP radar, which my GSP, I bet the Weather Service is still having data
That might
problems,
be
or
what's
they've
happening. That might be what's
resurfaced.
happening.
Does my GSP radar is out of date, like yours
So
is?
that was what was
But my
happening. to me
Columbia
yesterday.
radar, there you go. That's current. So the stuff down here we were watching in Newberry and Lawrence County has fallen apart. A line of much more robust storms, and this one here in Union County, if there's not a severe thunderstorm warning out, there should be, because we're seeing some pretty high reflectivity there, up above 60 dBz. How does the yeah, there's some hail in there. Hail algorithm says up to about an inch. How does the wind
that would
look
do
there? Ooh, oh, there's some fairly good blotches of wind there, outbound wind. So that's definitely a nice downburst there. Let me look in chat here and see if there's a.
I haven't seen much of anything in chat, which is actually odd.
I wonder if they're trying to issue a severe thunderstorm warning but can't get it out the door.
I'm not sure.
Because there's some data problem somewhere. Because the radar apps are not updating, at least the GSP radar isn't. Anyway,
and I will say, yesterday when the problems were happening, they could still see their radar in real time locally, which was obviously much needed. It's just us internally out here in the world.
Yeah. So anyway, that stuff in Union County looks pretty robust to me. I'm not gonna say that there should be a severe thunderstorm warning out, but it wouldn't surprise me if there was about to be one, or they're trying to put one out and can't, or something like that, because that's a pretty intense looking storm to me. These other storms are also fairly robust as well. There's some hail probably with this one here in southern Spartanburg County. There's probably some near Reedville with a storm just east of the GSP. Of the airport there, and not exactly a slouch up there in north of Greenville. So there's some pretty good storms there. Stuff further east in Chester County also looks impressive. There goes a new special weather statement for the stuff in southern Spartanburg County, going into Lawrence and Union counties for that cell there. And so apparently GSP is able to get something out the door. So hope maybe they're trying to put out a warning, or we'll see. Anyway, the stuff over southern York County and northern Chester County looks fairly impressive as well. Let's put this into motion here so you can see that all this is kind of drifting southeastward. One other thing we'll have to watch out for here in southern Spartanburg County, you may get a little bit of a training effect here from these storms, so don't be surprised if there ends up being some poor drainage, flooding from repeated downpours in that area. And we'll just keep an eye on this stuff. Looks like some new cells are trying to erupt over northern Fairfield County. And over there in Kershaw County, a cell's just popped up north of Camden as well.
It's the Oprah Winfrey of storms. Yeah, I think those, and I think that outflow boundary we were watching come north out of Columbia, combined with the one coming south from those storms along I-26, I think it's about to bash heads, meet up.
Yeah, it looks that way. So if something is going to happen there with a collision of boundaries, that's what happens soon.
Yeah. Let's bring in the man, the myth, the legend, Greg Fishel. Greg, do you have your tuba with you?
I do not. I'm actually in the car. My tuba is all packed up in the back seat, and I can't seem to be able to turn my camera on. You probably can't see me, can you?
Oh, no, we see you.
I can see you.
Oh, you can? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just joined the, I don't even know how many people know where this is, but Holly Springs is like a little small town outside of Raleigh, and they have a community band. And so I joined it last week, and We had our second rehearsal tonight, and it's challenging music and good people, a lot of fun.
Nice. Did you play Meet the Mets on your tuba?
No, but we played a bunch of stuff that was rather challenging tuba parts. Let's put it that way. And all I have to do is to be able to increase the rate at which I play it by about 35 beats a minute, and then I'll be okay.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right, well, stay tuned. Stay tuned. We did your El Nino update. We're still live here. We were just kind of wrapping things up, tracking the radar, waiting to see exactly where things were heading here as the evening was kind of coming to a close.
So is part of this the stuff you're showing, is this part of the MCS that was coming down out of Indiana earlier?
Frank,
sure, perhaps.
I feel like every little we're getting this like waves, right? It feels like we're getting wave after wave after wave. I mean, knock on wood, and we talked about this a little earlier in the show. We saw storms yesterday. Some trees came down, but compared to what they saw up there in Indiana and Ohio, I mean, we've really so far dodged a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the things that has that intrigues me about the future is that I always take a close look at the 700 millibar temps, and like once it gets to about plus 10 or higher, that always told me that there's a good mid-level cap there, and it's going to be tough to get through that. And so the maximum 700 millibar temperatures, at least on the GFS ensemble mean, are supposed to be Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And that's when the ensemble mean is giving us better chances for thunderstorms. And I couldn't resolve that in my mind. It's like, why are they doing that?
I don't know.
I know I'm supposed to have answers, and I don't.
You're supposed to have the answers.
Yeah.
You tell me. I don't know. What I was trying to figure out, because you mentioned seeing the future, I was trying to figure out if we're going to get any more of these storms during the overnight hours. So I was going to pop back up the.
Oh, there we go,
HRRR.
James.
What
I called
happened?
it severe thunderstorm warning in Union County, South
hang on.
Carolina.
I got a button for it. Here it goes.
Ooh,
There we
that's
go.
nice.
Yeah, thanks. Sit and wait
So,
in the wing.
severe
All right,
thunderstorm
go ahead.
warning in Union County, also into west central Chester County. That'll be in effect until 11 o'clock. Threats include 1-inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. That's from the storm that's just north of Union, tracking toward the southeast.
How do you feel that you called it? Oh, I got to play the lotto. Isn't that a thing that's happening tonight? Like a big lotto?
Yeah, the jackpot for Powerball, I think, has gone over $1 billion, which is not what you actually get. Should you be?
Yeah, I probably missed the cutoff anyway.
Should you have better odds than getting hit by lightning and actually win it?
You know, in Union County, they're up right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I sent, I know this is sort of geeky, but I sent you guys something over Slack earlier today that there was no appreciable change in the air mass over Raleigh today than there was yesterday. But the temperature at 1 o'clock this afternoon was 10 degrees cooler than it was yesterday at the same time. And there was this little band of thick cirrus that came right across the airport, the RDU airport, right around noon. And the temperature actually dropped 2 degrees from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And I'm not sure that I've ever seen that occur in August outside of an eclipse. The temperature could actually fall in the middle of the day, in the middle of August in central North Carolina, simply because of a broken cirrus layer. I mean, that to me was quite surprising and basically devastated my high temperature forecast today.
There was technically an eclipse.
Somewhere else
there was that 1% coverage eclipse that you had.
Yeah, it was spotted in Virginia. Does that count?
Maybe.
Yeah, it was actually a total eclipse in Western Europe. I think Spain and maybe a part of Ireland and maybe Greenland or Iceland.
Here's what the eclipse looked like from Peter Foster in Central Virginia. It's minor, Greg. I don't think it's enough to move your needle, but I mean, there was technically an eclipse.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even know that. That's amazing.
That's because you couldn't really see it here in the Carolinas unless you tried really hard.
Now, speaking of eclipses, we have a lunar eclipse coming up on the 28th, or actually the night of the 27th. I think that's a Friday night, and the
I think we should
28th
do
is a
live
Saturday.
coverage. I think
Yeah,
live coverage.
it's not a total lunar eclipse, but it's an almost total eclipse. I think we get 95% coverage.
Oh,
or
wow.
something like
Okay.
that. So and if I don't, let's see, actually I have it right here on the wall. Well, I don't have the time the eclipse occurs. I just have the time the full moon occurs, which is
It's like midnight.
right
it's
after.
I think that I want to say that
midnight.
the total max eclipse is like 12:05 a.m., which is
Something
late,
like that. Yeah,
but like that's way more doable than like 4:30.
right. Midnight.
yeah.
I'm up till midnight on Friday night usually anyway. So
I think it's 12:05 a.m. Friday, which I think means it's Thursday night. Am I wrong about that?
Okay.
good question.
Double check me on that, because I was first very excited for a Friday night eclipse, and then I realized that Friday night technically starts on Thursday night.
Yeah. I had the lunar eclipse on the 27th and 28th. I did that some time ago.
I
When
mean, the 27th into
maximum
the 28th.
eclipse is 93% at 12:12 a.m.
12:12 a.m. on what day?
Of the 28th.
On the 28th.
Okay.
And the 28th is the Friday?
Yeah. No, I think
so
that's
you're staying up late on Thursday night.
okay. So it's Thursday
Right.
morning. Well, that's not a problem. I work from home on Friday, so I can sleep in an extra 15, 20 minutes.
All right, there you go. I was gonna try to buy, which lotto is it? It's the North Carolina Powerball.
Yeah, too late to buy a ticket. The drawing is 30 minutes from now. You can't buy a ticket now. Sorry.
Sure.
You missed out. Unless
Sound like
nobody
you've,
wins again, in which the jackpot's even bigger. Oh, by the way, estimated jackpot $1 billion, right?
Yeah.
Cash value, should you just take the money up front, 433.1 million. That's not what you actually get. That's before taxes. After taxes, it's something like 220 million or something like that.
Sounds
So
like
no,
you're
you
well
will not
worth.
win $1 billion.
What would I
If
do
you
with
win
only
$1 billion, you will not win
220
anywhere close to $1 billion. It's still a heck of a lot of money, but it's not $1 billion. No.
I'd quit my day job and you would see me here all the time.
Oh, right. It is enough that we could be Carolina Weather Group Incorporated.
You don't like the LLC? Yeah.
Inc.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Frank, it sounds like you're really well versed in this.
Well, I just called up the website right on that screen over there, so I can. No, actually, I just heard on some talk radio show they were talking about it. Some local talk show. They say, well, the jackpot is X, but here's what you actually get if you win, and then this is what it would be like after taxes. And everybody says, a measly 220 million or whatever.
Oh,
whatever
geez.
it is.
I'm like, what? That's it.
I'd still be happy with $220 million.
I would be.
Oh, me
thrilled.
too.
Still a far cry from $1 billion.
Greg put his seatbelt on. His car was yelling at him even though he's not moving.
Yes.
I appreciate you not moving. I think we're gonna. Cross the T's, dot our I's here as we're coming up to 10:30 live. We do have this severe thunderstorm warning, which goes for another 33 minutes for Union and Chester counties in South Carolina. As Frank mentioned, 60-mile-per-hour winds, 1-inch size hail with this storm. And when we sign off, if you're watching us on YouTube, you'll automatically be taken over to the Carolina Weather Net, where we'll continue to track this storm. If you're watching us on Facebook, like CJ is, come on over to our YouTube channel where you can track these storms 24/7. I'm going to hang up on Greg because I want him focusing on the road. Focus on the road, Greg.
Yeah.
That's in front of you.
Well, he's
I
not actually
appreciate it.
driving. Are you driving?
He's
I am.
mirrored. Yeah, he's always mirrored when he
Oh,
drives
okay,
us
he's
from the car,
mirrored.
and
That
it looks like
explains
he's in London. Yeah, it's
Looks like
weird.
he's driving a right-hand drive
It
vehicle
does.
or something.
It does. So, all right. That's it for this week. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for shooting the breeze. If you want to join the conversation next time, join us live Wednesday night, 9 p.m. ish on YouTube and Facebook. And yeah, maybe we'll be back for the lunar eclipse. That would be fun. I think these guys are in, and maybe you'll be in too. That would be great. So, thanks for joining us. Have a good night. Bye bye.
Bye,
Take
y'all.
care.